welcome to the third run through of this. I've split these out into 3 different videos. The first one, the audio was terrible and we lost the adventure. The second one, nothing happened. We made a bad choice, got kidnapped, and then second choice we was killed. So it was instantly over. We didn't gain anything. So from those 2 encounters, I think the first choice when we tried to escape was the best choice, and then we'll see what happens. But we lost the battle quite badly in the first game. That's why we got kidnapped again. We nearly did escape, so we're going to try again as Rowan again, because that's what you have to be, and we'll see if it changes any outcomes. So you've heard me read the intro multiple times, and you've heard me do the main intro here multiple times. So if you want to hear that again, you can check out the previous 2 videos. So let's do this choice again then. For a moment you think you've dreamt it, the cry that tears the night in 2 and jolts you from your sleep. A hard winter's moon pierces the shutters. Then there's the scrape of metal and a bang at the door. Your hand closes over the locket that you keep beneath your pillow, and you cross the floorboards to peek outside. There are 5 figures dressed in dark cloaks with hoods over their heads. The leader raises his gloved fist to strike the door, and then stops as if sensing something. He looks up and pulls back. He looks up and you pull back, but not before catching a glimpse of his face. It's deathly white, and his eyes are sunken and sightless. My apologies for waking you, young apprentice, he calls, but an old friend begs an audience. His laughter creeps up the walls. You hear that cry again and realise it's deep inside you. Some forgotten terror. Who is this man that's come calling in the night, and why does he seem so familiar? Add a locket to your logbook. So we've added a locket to our items. Choices. If you wish to open a door and ask him yourself, turn to 276. If you want to buy some time and call down from the window, 127. If you want to escape into the alley behind the workshop, 185. So we're going to call down 127. What old friend, you shout down in a brave voice. It's a strange time to come knocking. You glance around in the room to assess your options. Your work belt hangs on the wall, and a hatchet hangs from the belt. You have so much to learn, little foundling, the man calls. Left on a carpenter's doorstep. Maybe on a night such as this, he laughs. Have you ever wondered who you really are, Rowan? Suddenly you hear footsteps around the side of the house. You don't have a moment to lose. If you want to open the door and talk to the strangers, 276. We're not doing that again on the last one. If you want to fasten the belt over your tunic and escape into the alley behind the workshop, turn to 185 and add the hatchet. So we're going to do that. We're going to grab the belt. We're going to take the hatchet back into... Now the hatchet, I'm not sure if that's classed as a weapon or just an item. Obviously it is a weapon, but we'll see. I'll put it as an item for now. 185. So now we're going to try and escape. You spin round. Earlier in the day, old Joe was unexpectedly called away. He's the carpenter who's raised you as his own, and without him there's no one to turn to. You pull on your boots and make a bolt for the window at the back of the room. Below is a cobblestoned alley with a cloth line strung across the house opposite. Roll 1 dice and add it to your athleticism level, which starts at 3. They will start at 3, but you get to increase 1 at the beginning. So I'm going to increase my endurance from 3 to 4 as a starter. And now I'm going to roll this one. So roll your athleticism. If your total is 7 or higher, Right, so I've got roll 1 dice and add it to your level. So we've got 3, so we need to roll a 4 or higher. We rolled a 1, so that didn't work. If it's lower than 6, turn to 417. So that last time, the first time we played it, that got us away, but we've ballsed it up. So we'll see what happens here. You make a leap for the clothesline, but it slips through your fingers and you land in a heap, jarring your ankle on the ground. You look around to see if anyone spotted your embarrassing attempt. Unfortunately for you, someone did. A hooded figure at the end of the alley. You run in the opposite direction and hear the voice again, faint but mocking as it floats over the rooftops. All roads lead to us, little Rowan. All of them. Deduct 1 life point. I've already lost a life point, so we're down to 11. And turn to page 42. The first playthrough we achieved that one. We got away quite well. It's quite annoying. So we're at 42. We've lost a life point. We've got a hatchet and a locket so far. In the second playthrough it was so bad we didn't even get our name revealed to us. We were killed before that. The sound of pounding feet reverberates down the narrow alley. 4 of the hooded figures are giving chase. The moon is hidden behind the rooftops, but you know these back ways well. At the end of the alley you vault a fence and land in a small yard. A hog is sleeping in a bed of hay. That gives you an idea. If you'd like to wake the hog by giving it a quick kick, 143. If you prefer to carry on without waking the hog, 249. We're going to wake it. Let's try that. So 143. So that's a good distraction to try and use. 143. The startled hog gives an indignant squeal, slipping through the passage and into the broad street beyond. You are rewarded by the sound of curses in the yard. Your pursuers had not bargained on an angry hog intent on revenge. This gives you precious moments to assess your options. The street runs uphill towards the market square, and the city guards have a small station on the other side. During the day the square is filled with traders, but now it sits empty in the moonlight. Dog, come over. You'd be easily spotted in that direction, so it'd be a straight race. Across the street is the entrance to a stables. It's a good place to hide, although you'd be cornered if they found you, and you must climb over a wooden gate to get in. Your final option is to head down the street into an area of Helm's Guard known as the Tangles. People have warned you of this district, full of misfits and thieves, but it's a maze of crooked passages which may aid your escape. So make a run for the city guards at the station, 196. Hide in the stables, 80, or the Tangles. Let's go for the guards, 196. Whether that's going to help, I do not know. Your breath turns ragged with the effort of keeping ahead of your pursuers. You call for help, but every door and window stays shut. Surely someone must have heard you. Somehow you make it to the square. If you can just get to the other side, you might be saved. Roll 1 dice and add it to your endurance level. 1 dice. If it's a 7 or higher, you go to 3. So my endurance level is 4, so I need a 3 or above. And we scored a 5. Can't see that, but a 5. So endurance 4 plus 5 is 9. It's above 7, so I think we passed that check. It looks like, don't know yet though, but 330 we turned to. Last time we failed the athletic check and we lost a life point. 330, wasn't it? Yep. Drawing on your last reserves of strength, you make it across the deserted square. gained 1 ability point. Ooh. So now we choose an ability point to increase. So we've got 4 already on endurance. I'm going to push my athletics up to 4 at the moment. So we've got 4 athletics, 4 endurance, 3 skill, 3 sixth sense for now. We've got a locket and a hatchet, and that's it. You see the flag of the city guard hanging outside a large stone building. Lamps burn by the entrance. Stumbling up the steps, you bang on the doors. The feet behind you slow, and you bang again. Why is no one answering? Then you turn and realise there are no guards by the steps, and the palms of your hands are sticky and wet. Holding them to the lamplight, you see they are red with blood. Your pursuers walk towards you, their faces hidden by their hoods. You hear a bolt drawn back and the doors open. There in front of you is the leader, the one you had somehow forgotten. He's standing in the doorway, his eyes still sightless and his laugh still worse. "We are well met, young apprentice," he says, and pauses. "You did well to get this far. I'm glad these guards did not die in vain." There's a trail of blood leading into the room, and it ends with a pile of limp bodies. His voice hardens. "Time." You're bound and gagged, and his laugh seems to creep from all sides as you're carried away. 94. Has this got us back to that same point? Yeah. All roads lead to one place. So, you twist and kick until your feet point of something sharp, till you feel the point of something sharp pressed against your side. "Master would prefer to take you alive," a voice says, so close to your face that you can smell the warm breath through the sacking. "But it's only a preference. If you try to escape, I will kill you." The accent is harsh and unfamiliar. They bundle you onto a cart and someone jumps up beside you. The driver urges the horses forward and the cart jerks into motion. Lying on the boards, you hit your head every time you go over a pothole. Eventually the horses slow and a familiar voice calls out in darkness. "Halt! Who goes there?" Your breath catches in your throat. It's Owen, the gatekeeper. His daughter's in your class at school. You're about to call out when you feel a sharp jab in your side once more. And you remember the warning that went with it. So if you want his attention, shout 353, keep quiet 409. We're going to keep quiet 409. Let's not get Owen involved. And I won't do no spoilers for that previous choice. You hold your breath as Owen chats to the driver. A bit early to be up and about, he asks. The driver laughs and says something you don't quite catch. "Well, be careful how you go," Owen says. "There have been sightings of a group of armed men in the area. Not from around here, I've heard." You blink back tears of frustration as the cart passes through the east gate and out of Helmsgard. Once clear of the city, your captor sits up and pulls away the sack. He's the only other person in the cart. The rest must be making their way out separately. His hood is drawn back, and in the weak dawn light you see a pale face with dull grey eyes. He doesn't look much older than you, but he stares straight ahead, seemingly uninterested in you or anything else. You make a muffled noise. After a moment's hesitation, he unties your gag and rests his hand on the hilt of his weapon. You see a name carved into it, Flint. It's not a word you've heard used around Helmsgard. You clear your throat quietly and risk a question. In a flat voice he tells you he's from a fishing village beyond the northern border of the kingdom. His name is Harlan. Turn to 111. You watch your captor closely and ponder your next move. If you want to ask him what happened to Hull Harlan, turn to 233. If you want to beg him to let you go, 109. If you want to ask him why you've been kidnapped, 342, or stay silent. Let's go 342. Ask him why we were kidnapped. "Those were my orders." You ask, "Who gave them?" He says, "The Shadow Reaper." Your eyes narrow, and you ask if that was who woke you in the night. He shakes his head, and further questions about the Shadow Reaper all yield the same response. "This is not for me to know." You hang your head in frustration at the man's strange, almost mechanical replies and ask if he knows where he's taking you. "At least to Florian Bridge, where we'll meet the others." You know that bridge. It's only a couple of leagues from the city walls. If you're going to try to escape, you haven't got much time. If you want to ask another question, 111. Or if you've had enough, turn to 12. Let's ask another one. What happened to Hol Haran 233? I'm not sure if that's a sarcastic question because he's half Haran or if it's a legit one, but Hol Harlan was purified. Your attempted smile fades and you ask what he means. Hol Harlan was purified. He's clearly not willing or able to say any more. You can ask another question or sit in silence. And we have one more question, that is to beg him to let us go, 109. It's worth a try, and if it's there, or we could sit in silence. So let's see what 109 brings out. Oh, it's a page behind. Those are not my orders. It was a long shot. You open your mouth to ask another question, but he tells you to shut up. Turn to page 12. Or point 12, marker 12. The sun has risen above the horizon, looking back towards Helmsgard. You see its rays glinting off the old astronomer's tower, but your attention is drawn away by strange noises further down the road. The sun has risen above the horizon, looking back towards Helmsgard. You see its rays glinting off the old astronomer's tower, but your attention is drawn away by strange noises further down the road. Songs and laughter, low rumbles and metallic clanking. The road skirts the edge of Gloamwood Forest. Who could be moving so cheerfully past this sinister place? Then the cart rounds the bend and the answer is revealed. The circus is coming to town. The ringmaster rides up front, wearing a red waistcoat that strains against its big gold buttons and a blue top hat studded with stars. At the sight of your cart, he raises a hand and cries, "Company hot." Ladybird's back. The driver pulls his horse up fast and yells, "Get off the road, you thieving vagabonds. Can't you see we're in a hurry? Nobody wants your salt in town anyway." The ringmaster's stare hardens. "Hardy bardy cob, you're needed outside, boys." The cart behind him shudders, door swings open, and three of the biggest men you've ever seen emerge. "Now wait just a minute," your driver stammers. "I was only joking around. Of course you folks are welcome here. As a matter of fact, His voice trails off as the three circus giants loom over him. If you want to leap from the carts and call for help, turn to 166. If you don't, 352. I'm going to try 166 again. Did this last time in the first one. We ended up in a battle and lost. I just don't think staying quiet is going to save us. It's 166, yep. You decide that this is the chance you've been waiting for. Roll one dice and add it to your athleticism. You need to score above 7. One dice, we've only got 4. Oh no, we rolled a 2. So that's 6. So 6 or lower, 265. Previously we'd passed both checks. This one we've failed both checks. 265. Oh no, is this going to be the end of us again? Oh no. You leap from the cart as half Harlan lunges forwards. You're quick, but not quick enough. You feel a sharp pain across the back of your thigh. Landing with a grimace, you call out for help and yell that you've been kidnapped. Deduct 2 life points, then go to 44. Alright, let's go to 44, get this ready. 2, so going from 11, 10. This is how it looks at the moment. And then the other side is just this. So we've got a locket, we've got a hatchet. We know there's Shadow Reaper wants us. We've got 4 athletic skill, 4 endurance, 3 skill, 3 sixth sense, and our hit points have gone from 12 to 9. 44. Suddenly everyone's attention is drawn to the sound of hooves thundering down the road. The rest of the kidnappers are riding up fast, weapons in hand. Their pal leader out in front, hood blown back, revealing these long strands of white, lank hair. trailing from his scalp. Go to page 29. Protect the child, yells the ringmaster as Half-Harden leaps from the cart. One of the circus giants catches him by the ankles and hurls him towards the oncoming kidnappers, but their pale leader holds up a hand and somehow deflects him away without even touching him. He lands in a heap by the forest edge, and his weapon clatters to the ground near your feet. As the two sides clash, an acrobatic flip gracefully over the cart and cuts your bonds. So he flips over and he cuts you free. Run for the forest, little one, she whispers. Quick! Grabbing the weapon, you keep low and have almost gained the trees when someone steps in your path. It's your captor. You yell at him to get out the way. He's unarmed. I can't let you go, he replies quietly and takes a step forward. You have no choice but to fight. Add Half-Harden's weapon Flint to your logbook, which we've added. And now we've got to fight Half-Harden. So the battle with Half-Harden is 3 rounds. He causes 1 damage per success. He has 2 hit points. We have 9 left. 9 left. And we have to roll and guess. So the way it works is 2 dice. You either have to guess over 7, over 9, or over 11. So you've got a choice of 11 or 12, 9, 10, 7, 8. Anything below 7 is an instant loss. So, because the odds are in our favour at the moment, I just want to roll above a 7. And we rolled a 4, which means we failed. So we lose a hit point. And we lose a round. Second round, I want above a 7 again. And yes, we got an 8. So that means he loses 1 hit point. And it's the last round. So if we said we wanted above a 9, that would do 2 hit point damage, and 11 or above would do 3 points hit damage. You only need to hit him 1 more time to win, and we've only got 1 roll left, so it's not worth going for the 2 hit damage. 9, we'll go for the 7 again. Perfect. 12. So we defeat Half-Harden. If we win, go to 66. In the first game we played, we got to the same battle and we lost. So I don't know what happens after this. Your captor sighs as he falls to the floor. It's better, he whispers. You step back as he puts his hands inside his tunic, but it emerges with a small white flower. I need to update my health as well, because I've got 8 now, because I got hit. Please take this. It only grows near my town, far away from here. Wear it, and if you meet Half-Harden, give it to him. I thought you were Half-Harden, you say. He smiles sadly. There were 2 halves to Harden. He closes his eyes, taking the flower. He closes his eyes, taking the flower. You run for the forest. So add a white flower to our items. A white flower, and we go to 317. So we've gone further than we did in the first playthrough now at this point, because we won that, but we still had 12 hit points originally when we lost. Then the final battle we lost, got kidnapped, and we failed. 317. So this is interesting. Now let's see what happens, and hopefully we get a chance to heal. Branches claw and brambles clutch, but you don't slow until the cries have faded to nothing. Only then do you stop and look around. You're in Gloamwood Forest. This place has a sinister reputation. Mothers say to their children, if you don't behave, I will leave you for the old lady of the wood to find, and that will be the end of you. Even seasoned travellers won't set foot in the forest after dark, and yet here you are, lost and exhausted. You stumble on until you come across a tree standing slightly apart from the rest. Its thick trunk is knotted and gnarled, and clear water has pooled in the hollow between its roots. You're about to scoop some to your lips when you hear a quick, high-pitched voice by your side. "I wouldn't do that if I was you." "Or would I?" You look down in surprise to see an impish creature with curly red hair and pointy ears. There's a teasing smile on her lips. You ask her what she means. "If I were me, I know what to do. But if I were you, I don't suppose I would." She cocks her head and shrugs. If you ignore this creature and quench your thirst, 392. If you decide not to take a drink, 179. 179. Let's not drink. You ask if the water is poisoned, then leave. The leaves above you rustle, and the imp chuckles. "I shouldn't think so, my sweet." "Then why?" She cocks her head to one side and points at the tree. "Because you haven't asked." You turn towards the tree, and the strangest thing happens. Its top branches bend down, almost like it's nodding. You glance around to make sure that no one else is watching, then quietly ask for a drink. A single leaf falls from a branch and lands in a little pool of water. "That means yes," the imp trills. "Old Man Tree saves that water for the birds and beasts of the forest, but will always be generous to those who ask nicely." Her voice falls lower. "Of course, not everyone does ask nicely." She points at the round knots that sprout like boils from the trees. Trunk. In each one you see a face, a wooden carving of despair. "Now why don't you tell me what you're doing all alone in this deep forest?" You drink a handful of cool clear water and begin your story. Add 2 life points. Yeah. Back to 10. And turn to page 20. You tell her everything that's happened since you were awoken. So suddenly in the night she sits cross-legged on the mossy ground, her chin cupped in her hands, and stays that way long after you finish your story. High above a crow caws. You clear your throat and she stirs. "Tell me, sweetie, did you happen to see the boy's shadow? I wondered before he died." You ask what she means. "Oh, don't take no notice of me, my love. Silly rumours reach those whose ears are close to the ground." She smiles and leaps to her feet. "The name's Nettle, by the way, and you're lost, yes? Well, I can show you the way out of here. The only other choice." Her voice towels off, and you beg her to finish what she was going to say. "Well, you could try to find the old lady of the forest. She doesn't take kindly to strangers, but she sees and hears all that happens in these parts. If anyone can make sense of your story, it's her, whether she wants to." She grins and shrugs. If you'd like to search for the old lady of the forest, 219. If you'd like to get back to Helmsgard, 429. 219. Let's go for 219. Can the old lady help us, or she's going to kill us, maybe? Nettle nods slowly and points down a path that leads even deeper into the forest. Ancient trees hem it in on either side, with only the odd shard of sunlight piercing the gloom. "Did I mention she was old?" she asks. "She was old when Old Man Tree was just a sapling. Compared to her, we're alive for the blink of an eye. If she takes an interest, she'll give you the chance to meet her. But watch your step, because she likes her little gamer." Yes, she does. If you'd like to set off along the path, turn to 81. If you change your mind, go to Helmsgard, 421. If you'd like to ask Nettle to come with you to meet the old lady, 202. Let's ask Nettle to join us. "Goodness me, no, the old lady doesn't like crowds. You go alone, or not at all." Nettle grips your arm. "But a word of advice, sometimes the true path is hidden in plain sight. To find the old lady, first you have to see her. Yes, really see her." Alright. So let's go to the old lady, 81, or return to Helmsgard. We're going to go to the lady. Just made a note saying need to really see her, the old lady. Maybe that's a clue. 81. So we're heading to the old lady. What's this? You look down the path that leads to the old lady. So that's a picture they've drawn for this. I think that's the old lady there. You look down the path that leads to the old lady. When you turn back, Nettle has disappeared. Taking a deep breath, you set off. The ancient trees are twisted into strange shapes, and somehow you feel them watching as you pass. There's no bird song or even a breath of wind to stir the branches. Then a cry up ahead shatters the silence. You round the bend and come across a fork in the path. On the right hand path you see a source of the cry. It's Nettle calling and beckoning you to follow her. She's eating an apple from a nearby tree. The ground around her is dappled with sunlight. The left hand path heads even deeper into the forest. The trees are dark and leafless, and ravens brawl silently on the branches. Look closely at the picture opposite. If you decide to take the left path, turn to 412. If you want to follow Nettle down the path to the right, turn to 70. So this is the image again. Just going to have a quick study of this. So looking at it, it looks like there's a face on the right side here, potentially like a smiley face sort of thing. Over there looks like it could be a skull next to the person. It says you really need to see her, the old lady. So I'm gonna go left. I'm not gonna go to Nettle. I want to take the left path, 412. Don't know why. Don't know whether it just feels a bit off, the Nettle one. But I hope this ain't wrong. 412. She likes her little games. Yes, she does. She likes her games. As Nettle's words echo through your mind, you look from one path to the other. Is she part of the trick, or is she here to help? As your thoughts stumble through a hall of mirrors, your eyes are free to see what's right in front of you. The path on the right, the caves in the rock face next to Nettle, they form the image of a skull. Yeah, they did. And the path on the left, with the long trailing branches and dark cliff face, they form the image of an old lady. That's interesting. Need to really see her. That was a clue. You found her, hidden in plain sight. You start down the left path and Nettle disappears. Was she ever really there? As you walk under the cliff, the ravens take off and the trees part to reveal a wide clearing bathed in sunlight. You see a hunched figure wrapped in a shawl, drawing up water from a well. Gain 1 ability point and then go to 386. 1 ability point. Okay. 386. It's a big bit of writing. 1 ability point. We've got 4 athletics, 4 endurance. I might go for 6th sense, just because I think you might need that. Maybe the witch is going to be important for that. So we've got a white flower, a locket, a hatchet. We've got flint, the weapon, and we've gained 4 ability points, and our health is back up to 10. Which was down to 8 at one point. So 386. You approach slowly, and all the time the figure in the shawl hauls the bucket up from the well. Round and round the wheel speaks. Are you the old lady of the forest? You ask. I was told to find you and that you could help. With a dull clank, the bucket reaches the top. The figure lifts it to the ground, and you look for a face under the shawl, but see none. An arm extends and points to the bucket. At first all you can see is the blue sky reflected in the water. Then clouds start to gather. Even though there are none overhead, they form the face of a young girl. Do you think I should look my age? The face asks, with a voice that sounds like the rustling of leaves. You open your mouth, but the water shivers as the face turns to a skull. I know your story. I know more than you know. So listen to me. There's a new magic gathering on the borders of Arkandale. It threatens the old magic. It will overrun the kingdom and destroy my forest. See what awaits. You lean closer as Helmgard appears in the water. Prisoners are being carried through the streets. You see old Joe's face pressed against the bars. The ramshackle astronomer's tower is gone. In its place looms a tower of black stone. A huge furnace is fed by an unending stream of trees. As ancient Gloamwold is cut to stumps, the face reappears. Go back to Helmsgard and find Madoc, the map keeper. The map maker. Oh shit. The map maker. Lost it there. Go back to Helmsgard and find Madoc, the map maker. It was he who left you on the carpenter's doorstep, and he who has what you need. Go to the market wearing this, and you will meet him there. The shrouded figure hands you a silver bracelet with a green stone, then points at a path that appeared through the glass, through the trees. Right, add a silver bracelet to logbook. Silver bracelet. If you decide to take the path, 237. If you want to ask the old lady Forest why she tried to trick you, 155. Let's ask her a question. You never know what you might gain, knowledge-wise. The clouds darken and the water ripples, stirred by an unseen force. Child, if you could overcome my simple test, you would be no help to me. Far greater challenge lies ahead. The water threatens to overspill the bucket, and you make a step back. The tree closes in and looms over you. They await their orders. Then sound of laughter rolls around the clearing and the trees retreat. But you are right to be suspicious, and it took courage to ask. Perhaps there is hope after all. So drink this, a gift from the forest. The figure scoops water from the bucket with a wooden cup and holds it. If you want to drink the water, turn to 103. If you head back to Helmsgard, 237. Let's drink it, 103. Maybe this was a bad idea, maybe she was testing us again. Games. Don't know. Your hands shake slightly as you lift the cup to your lips, but the water is cool and fresh and tastes somehow of spring. You drink deeply and feel new life flowing through your body. Gain 1 ability point and 2 life points. Ooh! Then turn to 237. Oh wow. 237. Right, so after that, we're back onto 12 hit points, full health, and we've gained ability point in skill, so we have 4 now in each ability. 237. Also got 4 items now. Almost at once you find yourself at the forest edge. You turn around in surprise, but the path has disappeared. When you finally walk back through Helmsgard East, the sun is in your eyes, and Owen the gatekeeper has been replaced by the afternoon shift. You don't recognise the new guard, and there is something unnerving about the way he looks at you, but he lets you pass unhindered. If you'd like to visit the market straight away, go to 331. If you'd first like to report your attempted kidnapping to the city guard, 200. If you'd like to go back to the workshop to see if old Joe has returned, 377. 377. They might be waiting for us though, mightn't they? That might be a bad idea. No. Is right in it, 377? Yeah. The streets are thick with people either scurry into the markets or trudging back. You'd forgotten how busy it gets on market day. Oh, so if you roll a 1 or 2, turn to single dice. If you roll a 1 or 2, turn to this page, 3 or 4 on that page, or 5 to 6 on that page. Rolled a 4. So we've got to turn to page 282. A boy with rags for clothes and no shoes at all bumps into you. Sorry, Your Honour. It being so busy, he says, grasping your hands and shaking them earnestly. You carry on, absent-mindedly rubbing your wrist. Suddenly you stop dead. The silver bracelet has gone. You spin around. Might that boy have slipped it from you? So delete the silver bracelet. Lost the silver bracelet. If you have endurance level of 5 or above, turn to 270. We have 4. So we go to 98. So if we'd improved our endurance, we would have been alright then. 98. You catch a glimpse of the boy disappearing down the street and take off after him. But everyone seems to be going in the opposite direction. In frustration, you shove someone out of the way and get a punch in the jaw for your troubles. When you look up, the boy has disappeared. Lose a life point. Oh no, this is... He was doing well, now it's all just fell apart. Go to 3-4-4. All falling apart now. Aware of the time ticking away, you run down back ways and side streets until finally you turn onto your old road. When you see the workshop, you stop dead. The door hangs on its hinges and the window has been smashed. Inside, the place has been ransacked. Your old crib stands upended over in the corner of Joe's bed. You pick it up and set it back on its rockers. There's no sign of old Joe, so his crib has been flipped over. If you have a city guard's badge, turn to 309, which we don't. If you don't, turn to 174. Don't know when we would have got that then. City guard badge. You hear shouting coming from down the street and recognise the voice. It belongs to Wode Griblin, that odious son of Lester Griblin, chief of the guards. This way, he cries. I saw him heading for the workshop. Looking out, you see a group of armed guards running in your direction. Something tells you they're not here to investigate the break-in. You have time to grab your satchel and put one item in before making your escape. Choose either a rope with a hook, a hooded cloak, or a magnifying glass, and add them to your logbook. You stow your chosen items and escape through the back window. There's only one thing on your mind now: to find Maddock at the market. You just hope he's still there. So we get a rope with a hook, hooded cloak, or a glass. I'm going for a hooded cloak, but the hook with a rope sounds actually quite handy. We took the hooded cloak and turned to 55. By the time you get to the market, many of the traders have left and the rest are packing up. A baker tosses you a pie that was destined for the pigsty. Add 2 life points. Ooh, that's good. Back to 12. Wiping gravy from your chin, you notice a burly guard making inquiries. Your name is mentioned. You've been spotted in the area and are wanted for questioning. If you'd like to speak to the guard and explain the situation, 46. If you want to avoid but don't have a hood, 273. If you want to avoid the guard and do have a hood, 395. Let's go to 395, let's avoid a guard. You slip the cloak over your shoulders and pull up the hood. Your heart's thud inside your chest as you walk past the guard into the square. Not daring to look behind, you expect to hear a shout at any moment, but none comes. With a sigh of release, you look up. If you have the silver bracelet, turn to 340. Don't. You don't. 403. 403. Your heart sinks as you look around the square. You don't know what Maddock looks like and can't attract attention to yourself by shouting his name. Anyway, there are only a few people still here. One of the last traders to leave shuffles past with a bag slung over his shoulder. You stop him and ask for help. 242. Of course, I think the bracelet was for Maddock, wasn't it? Maddock, he says. Who's that then? You tell him the only thing you know, that he's a map maker. Well, if it's a map you're after, there's a man here that sells them. You've just missed him, but it'll be at the Weeping Widow with all the others. I'll take you there myself, but I've got other plans. He spits on the cobbles and continues on his way. You call after him and ask him what the man looks like. He looks like a map maker, he shouts. Looks just like what he is. The Weeping Widow is a tavern near the town square. It's where the traders go to spend the money they've earned, and then money they haven't. Normally you'd avoid this place, but right now it's your only option. Sorry about that. That was... Oh, the dog tripping over my mum. Or nearly tripping her over. So where do we get to? 15. A sign on the door of the Weeping Widow proclaims traders drink half price. And it sounds like they're taking full advantage of the offer. The noise and heat hit you as you step inside. A large fire burns at the back of the room and the floor is covered with sawdust and beer. The traders sit around a long table wearing their trader numbers around their neck for their half-price drinks. A group of off-duty guards are standing by the bar. You'll have to be careful not to draw attention to yourself. If you walk up to the wrong trader and they call up to Maddock, the guard will almost certainly notice. So you have to work out for yourself which is the map maker. Turn over when you think you've spotted who it is. Add up the numbers on the tags of all the other traders and turn to that entry. Okay, so they give you this image. And within the image, you have to find who you think. One second, I need to add this up again. So, I think we've now found which one it is. You get different numbers on there, and then each number you add up, and then that gives you a marker number, which you can then point to for. It doesn't give you which number to turn to. If you don't know the answer, you turn to 138. So if you work out the numbers, it then points to a bullet point number, which you can now carry on with. You were told the map maker was a man, so you studied the map.
Catches your eye. He has rolled up parchments and measuring tools in his bag and ink-stained fingers. He also has a compass tattoo on his arm. You decide he's the most likely map maker of the bunch. Walk up to the table and whisper his name. He looks up with grey, bright eyes. They seem almost too young for a face that's been lined by age. You tell him who sent you, and he nods. Come with me, he says. As you leave the tavern, one of the guards glances your way, but Maddox steps into his line of sight, and he turns away. Where's your bracelet? Maddox asks. That was to show me you were in trouble. As you both hurry away with the Weeping Willows, you tell him how you lost it. Gain 1 ability point, 355. Right, so we're going to go for athletics. I think. You go to 355. That's a cool puzzle, that one. They're little puzzles anyway, which are quite fun. 355. Maddock leads you to an old cottage on the edge of a town. It stands a little apart from the newer houses that have been built nearby, and its thatched roof looks out of place next to their slate tiles. This used to be a woodsman's cottage, he says, bolting the door and lighting a lamp. Night has fallen, and the moonlight shines off the wet cobbles outside. He closes the curtains and hangs up his cloak. On the way to the cottage, you told him all that's happened, and now he's strangely quiet. He pulls two seats in front of the kitchen range. And stokes the fire. Only when you have a steaming bowl of stew and your boots are drying on the hearth does he sigh and break his silence. Add 1 life point. We can't add a life point because we've still got 12 maximum. 416. I've been thinking about how to begin, Maddox says. It's a long story and I only know part of it. The firelight deepens the lines on his face and his eyes are dark wells. I knew your mother. Her name was Idriel. Your breath catches in your throat. Idriel is the name of your locket, the one old Joe found wrapped up in the swaddling cloths when you were left on the doorstep. She had a great hall in the northern reaches of Arkandale, where I was captain of the guard. We often had visitors, sometimes from far outside the kingdom. They were given food and lodging, but they came to consult with your mother. I never knew what they talked about. There were books on the desk.
She led me through into her chambers where you lay, wrapped up warm for a journey. She unlocked a box and handed me a parchment. It stained red beneath her fingers and I saw blood soaking through her chainmail. Outside, the cries were drawing near. She gave you a kiss and told you to go. As I climbed from the window with you strapped to my back, the door shuddered. She drew herself up to her full height. Maddock looked you in the eye. She'd hold them off until you were safe, I knew that. He stared right through you into the past, then his shoulders relaxed. There's not much more I can say. I evaded the sentries that ringed the hall and travelled many days to a carpenter's workshop in Helmgard, where your father said you'd be safe for a while from enemy spies. He looks at you sadly, but now they've found you. If you want to ask more about your father, turn to 115. If you want to ask about the parchment, 259. Let's ask about the father. 115. His name was Ulfur. He was, I think, your mother's only true friend. I don't know how they met because he was from Helmsgard and she was not. He knew old Joe, and it said he could be trusted. Whoever raised you never knew who you were. It was the safest way. Idriel and Alter, you say quietly. He nods to you and you ask to see the parchment. 259. 259. Maddock goes into another room and comes back with the parchment. It's soft with age and discoloured by blood. Slowly, carefully, you unroll it and see a message written in flowing hand. I've read the message and can make nothing of it, Maddock adds, but maybe it will mean something to you. You read it over several times. At first, there seems no sense in the message at all, but then something stirs a memory so close that it's like your mother's whispers in your ear. I know where to look, you say. She's telling me where to look. If you've already been back to old Joe's workshop, turn to 148. If you haven't, 39. We haven't, 148. We've been to old Joe's, but we returned 148. Have you picked up the book of fairy tales from the workshop? That's not right. What's this? If you've already been back to old Joe's workshop, we did, didn't we? Yeah. Have you already picked up the book of fairy tales from the workshop? No. If you have, 2, 3, 2, 1. If you haven't, 39. 39. We have not. We have not picked it up. You tell Maddock that you need to go back to the workshop. The message is only one part, you say. We need the book. I'm sure that's what she means. A book from the workshop, you nod. Then we must hurry. The place may already be under watch. Together you make your way back through Helmsgard. The flickering light of the lamp shines on the wet cobbles, but it has stopped raining. How are you? So we can be the decoy or the thing. Our endurance is now 4, athletics is 5. So I'm going to say we're going to be the decoy. Let him be the archer. 288. We can be the decoy. I think that's the way. Maddock nods. Stay close to the door so they can't cut off your escape. If there's anyone inside, don't fight them, just get out. Do you understand, Rowan? Yes. Good. Go. Your footsteps seem to fill the night with a slow drumbeat. The broken door hangs half open. You drag it back and step inside. Weak lamp light from your street glints off broken glass. In the darkness something shifts. Roll 1 dice and add both your 6th sense and athleticism levels. If you score 11 or higher, or 10 or lower. So it's 1 dice, and our 6th sense is 4, and our athleticism is 5. That's 9, so we need to roll a 2 or above. And we rolled a 1. Oh my days. So what's that? 10. 277. I can't believe we just rolled a 10. You throw yourself backwards, but not quite quickly enough. A heavy blow knocks the breath out your chest. You scrabble to your feet and back away from the door. A man follows you out, mace hanging loose in his hand. Then another man emerges, and another. Deduct 2 life points. Can't believe we just did that. Need to roll a 2. We've got a 1. 2 or above. Deduct 2 life points. Go to 36. Oh no, I've got a battle here. 6 men surround you. 3 of them are dressed like the hooded strangers you've already met. The rest are city guards. They must be working together. One of the guards starts to chuckle. He reaches for his weapon, but suddenly his chuckle splutters. He looks down to see an average. We've got a battle with a hooded figure, and the outcome determines what happens next. He has got 5 hit points. We have got 10. He does 2 damage per win, and it's 6 rounds. So let's do this. Let's roll above a 7, and we got a 9. So with our flint, we do 1 damage and 1 round over. Let's go again. 7 again. We're going for. We got.
So that's 2 of his points gone, 4 rounds left. Let's go for again. 9. So he loses again. And that's another round gone. Got 3 rounds left and 2 points to hit. Let's just keep going for the 7s above. Yep, got 8. Can you see that? Yep. So that's another life gone. Another round left. Right, we just need to win. These now. A 3. So we lose a hit point. And there's 1 round left, we just need above a 7. And we got a perfect 12. So we beat the hooded figure, we lose a hit point. So we're down to 9 life points, but we survived and win. So if you beat him, which we did, 159. The hooded stranger fights in silence and his expression never changes, even when you strike the final blow. He falls to the floor as Maddock runs through the doorway. We've been lucky, he says grimly. I did not expect them to send 6 men to ambush 1 child. You must have their respect, Rowan. He looks around the workshop. We should hurry. The night is quiet and we are loud. Reinforcements could be on their way. 193. The workshop has been ransacked. Tools, materials, and broken glass cover the floor. You see, with relief, there's no sign of old Joe, but his violin lies smashed and broken in front of the hearth. You pick it up gently. He used to say it was the only thing that got you to sleep when you were a baby, and even now you can hear the sweet, sad music that somehow flows from his rough hands. Softly, Maddock urges you to look for the book. You climb up to your platform and find your bed overturned, but nothing has been taken. With this search, this was a search, not a robbery. They didn't find it because they didn't know what they were looking for. You walk over to the corner of the room, pick up a book that was peeking out from under an overturned chest. Here it is, you say. We've got it. Gain 1 ability point and add a book of fairy tales to your logbook. So, book of fairy tales, and 1 more ability point, which I'm going to put in to my skills to make that 5 skill, 5 athletic, 4 endurance, 4 6 sense. If you'd like to search for other items that might be useful, 82. We're going to do that.
I had to take a quick break, had some dinner and the phone had to charge up. So, we got to 380. So, carry on. I've lit some incense as well. I can't show you. Got some incense going, see if the bugs stay away. Because the biters are out now. Yeah, 380 we got to. Did you notice how the hooded men never made a sound as they fought? My dog said. And their expressions never changed. I've seen that before, at your mother's hall, when it was attacked. You tell him the leader wasn't there, the man with the pale face and strange eyes. He nods as you reach his cottage. We'd better take a look at that book of yours. 321. Ooh. This seems a bit more involved, this bit. You take the book of fairy tales from your satchel. Its green cover is faded with age. You lay it down on the kitchen table and read out your mother's message. Now turn your thoughts to tales of old, where dragons guard the mountains gold, and plot your path from east to west, where the sun does rise to where it sets. Then up to the moon, that's fat and round, but your journey's end burns underground. Look once more at the route you have traced, where 2 paths cross, you'll meet your fate. You show Maddock the title of the book. It's called Tales of Old. It was wrapped inside a cloth. The biters are out. It was wrapped inside my clothing, you say. Old Joe found it when he took me in. A small book of fairy tales. I thought it was just something my parents used to read to me. But look, it's in the first line of the message, and only I would know what it means. Maddock looks at you in astonishment and read the second line. You continue turning to a page in a book that shows a dragon among snow-capped peaks. The message must be hidden in this picture. Look at the picture opposite. If you follow the instructions correctly and trace the route with your fingers, a number will appear. Multiply that number by itself and turn to the resulting entry. If you can't find the number, we have to go to page 314. If we do, we carry on. I have to say, some of these puzzles are really cool. So you have to look at the picture opposite, follow the instructions, trace it with your finger. So there's the picture. And a number appears, which it does, I've worked it out. Following the instructions on the poem or the writing, a number comes out, and it should be 16, which when I went to part 16, it correlates to this. Suddenly you see the pictures in the margins. You trace the route from the rising sun on the right, yep, to the setting sun on the left, then up to the full moon, yep, and down to the flame beyond the ground, which looks like the number 4. The lines make a cross over a tree, yep, with a strange symbol on its trunk, which has a strange fire symbol or something. I don't know what it is, but there's a symbol on the trunk of the tree. Might not focus, but there is one there. You gain one ability point. So we're going to put that ability point, I'm going to put that into endurance. Give that a 5. Medoc peers closely and gasps 254. It feels like we're progressing quite well now. We've got past that awkward orbital bit. That's the symbol of the Guardians of the Flame. Madoc whispers, they say there's an oak that's older than the kingdom itself, standing on a place that no longer exists. They say it's the location of the flame. I'd always thought it was an old wives' tale. He looks at you with his bright grey eyes. Perhaps I was wrong. You return the look in silence. Suddenly your head starts to spin. The men in hoods, your mother, and now this talk of the Guardians of the Flame. You stumble away from the book. Roll 1 dice. If you score 4 or over, turn to 130, 3 or under, 292. 5. 130. You tread on something soft. There's a fierce spitting yowl, and a huge tomcat sinks his teeth into your leg. You spin around and the room keeps spinning. You fall and hit your head against the wall. The room goes black. Deduct a life point. And turn to 95. So we lost a life point there. We've lost a few recently since the bell. You wake up in a chair by the fire. A rug has been thrown over you and the cat is asleep on your lap. Add 3 life points. Oh. 8, 9, 10, back up to 11. I think you've already met Bosca. Madoc smiles. He comes and goes as he likes. After a pause he continues. The world must look very different to how it did just a few days ago. Something dark is stirring and you're caught up in it somehow. I wish I could explain and protect you better, but these are forces beyond my power. Your mother's message was meant for this day and no other. It will lead you into danger, but also your only route out. I'm sorry. You nod slowly and ask if he'll come with you. I can take you as far as the entrance to the sewers. He sees your expression and his eyes twinkle. There's a woman down there, an alchemist. I'm sorry she didn't choose a more glamorous location. For years I didn't realise that she'd escaped the attack on your mother's hall. I thought I was the only one. How she did it, I don't know. But she's a strange creature. Even back then, she rarely ventured above the ground. Said the sunlight interfered with her experiments, and there were many who thought those experiments were unnatural. I told her so myself once, and that's why I can't go with you now. She holds grudges. But your mother often consulted with her. She may know something about the flame. Madoc gets up and draws back the curtains. You're surprised to see red sky above the rooftops. You must have been unconscious for some time. 402. After a quick breakfast, Madoc pushes back the table and chairs. I used to train young cadets here, he says. How about a few light drills before we set off? He puts you through a training exercise and leaves you flat on your back fighting for breath. Add 1 ability point each to your skill, athleticism and endurance. Alright. So skill goes up to 6, athletics goes up to 6, and endurance goes up to 6. Cool. At the end of the session he hands you some leather armour to wear under your tunic. He spreads a selection of items. So we've got, what's this? Leather armour. Leather armour. Don't know what that does. To wear under your tunic. Then he spreads a section of items on the table. Take 3, he says. You need to travel light. Choose 3 items from the list below. Each item can only be used when you're given the option in the text. So we can have handcuffs, sleeping potion, mirror, net, firecrackers or caltrops. So the armour, make a note of this, it lowers the attack from someone else by 1 point. So -1 damage. So I'm not quite sure how that works if their damage is only 1. Unless it's made this way so no one does 1 damage anymore. It's above. 3 items. Net weighted at the edges to catch a moving target. Could be handy. Caltrops, spiked metal balls that can be thrown on the floor to deter pursuit. Firecrackers, small pouches that make a loud bang on impact. Mirror, hand mirror and silver handle. Sleeping potion to send someone to sleep. Handcuffs, bind wrists together. I'm going to go for firecrackers. Handcuffs. And maybe a sleeping potion or mirror. Let's go for a sleeping potion. Make a note of your choices in the logbook, along with the leather armour. The armour decreases an opponent's damage rating by 1 life point. Turn to 290. I'm sure there'll be some battles coming soon. I might have to take this inside as well. In fact, got a big page coming up. I'm going to take this indoors now before the biters proper start biting, and we'll continue this indoors. Didn't realise it was going to be so long. Continue. Now, so since the third playthrough, I didn't realise the GameBook could end up being this long, this one. We're still going strong. We've got 11 hit points, a lot more items. We're doing a lot better than the previous 2 attempts. I'll tell you that, a lot better. So, the dock leads you down to the old docklands. The Watson Holt old ships loom above the mist rising off the River Wendell. It's low tide, and you climb down a rusty ladder into a passageway between 2 storehouses. Rats squeak from cracks in the walls as you slip and slide across green stones and rotten driftwood. At the far end is another ladder, leading up to an iron grating. Madoc removes the grating and then climbs back down. She won't be easy to find, he says quietly. Here, take these and try to head towards the centre of the sewers. That's where I heard her incantations rising up through the pipes. Add a lantern, compass and chalk to your logbook. Lantern, compass and chalk. Last one is giving you chalk and he looks past you into the dark tunnel. A man stumbled over here once saying he'd been lost for many days, saying the tunnels move. Maybe if you mark every chamber you enter, you will avoid getting lost. And Rowan, you gripped your arm suddenly. People hear all sorts of strange noises at night when it's quiet. They talk about spirits roaming the streets, but I know the alchemist and her experiments. He releases his grip. Just don't give her a reason to dislike you. You start climbing the ladder, then turn. Can you keep watch of old Joe? You ask, looking down. If he sees his workshop and I'm not there, I will, Rowan. I give you my word. You climb up into the sewers.
stooping to keep your head from scraping the damp bricks. You light your lamp and set off down a long straight tunnel. You check your compass and see that you're heading northeast. Soon though, your stride starts to falter. The warm air and foul smells are making you dizzy. The compass needle spins around and around. Just as your legs start to buckle, the tunnel opens into a high chamber, and the air is fresher. You take a few deep breaths. Looking around, you realise you can't find the entrance you came in by. None of them seem to match the compass direction you were following, so you have a choice of 4 tunnels. But before you choose, remember Madoc's advice: to avoid going around in circles, mark each chamber you enter by making a note of its entry number in your logbook. So a note for you to mark the tunnels as well, so we don't go in circles. So we want to go north, east, south or west. I'm going to go east, number 9. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a tunnel number on this or 9. You come to a crossroads. If you want to go north, turn to 333, east to 248, south to 57, west to 204. Well, we've gone east. We went east, didn't we? So we'll go east again to 248. Just keep going east. I'll try and work my way around this way. 248. You cry out in pain. You've been bitten by a rat. Oh. Deduct 1 life point. Then you come to a crossroad. If you want to go east, turn to 9. Well, we've been here, so that's no good to us. If I go back to 9, let's just say, I don't know how you go east and east and then end up going east and be back at the same spot. So let's go west. 204. Try west, 204. You come to a crossroad. If you want to go north, east, south, west, we're all going to go west again. And that's 131. So we're going to go west 131. Let's see what's here. So we've covered both these routes. So west and west. You feel a sharp pain in your ankle. You've been bitten by a rat. Deduct 1 life point. Oh, no. Come to the crossroads. We're going to go north, 306. We don't want west. Definitely not. 204 being there. East, 320. Let's try 320, not been there yet. A few bites now, though, so that's good. Using these hit points. Not good. You come to a crossroads. A horrible sucking, crunching noise comes from the middle of the chamber. You hold your lantern high and cry out and drop it to the floor. In the darkness, the noise stops. You hear something unnatural slithering your way. Dropping to your knees, you scrabble for the lantern. When you hold it up, your horrified face stares back. Reflected over and over in a cluster of moist black eyes, the creature rears up and its thin front legs flail. You see tufts of rat fur stuck to its pincers, but the real terror is further back, where the body of a gigantic centipede merges with the body of a gigantic snake. Is this one of the alchemist's experiments that Madoc talked about? You might have a glimpse of a red chain around its throat, but you can't be sure. Back away slowly, 209, or attack it 142. We've lost a few hit points now, let's back away 209. You're not the strongest. No. Interesting, a voice mutters. It seems to come from the walls themselves. The child shows some intelligence. The chamber starts to spin and the walls close in. You feel the same dizziness that you felt as you approached the first chamber. In fact, you are in that first chamber. You get up, not sure why you were lying down, and see that the creature is gone. In its place stands a frail old woman with wild white hair leaning on a cane. Why are you here? She asks in a dry, shrill voice. You tell her that you're looking for an alchemist who lived in your mother's hall, and the effect is instant. What was your mother's name? Idriel. Prove it. If you'd like to show her your locket, turn to 110. If you prefer to show her the Book of Fairy Tales, turn to 304. I'm going to show her the locket. 110. Because that was giving us blind. In silence, the alchemist runs a finger over the name on the locket. Idriel. Then she mutters something in a language you don't understand. There's a grinding sound as part of the chamber wall slides away to reveal a hidden passage. She leads you down a flight of spiral steps. Her cane strikes loudly against the stone, and you keep checking behind for the monster. She cackles. No need to worry, child. My baby was in no danger. I only showed her to you in a dream. Remember when you first felt dizzy? She stops and waggles a long, thin finger in your face. I put you to sleep in that first chamber, and you'd still be lying there, as good as dead, if you hadn't surprised me by passing my little test. Why do you think your compass was no help, huh? Nothing makes sense in your dreams. She scratches her chin. The chalk was a good idea, though. Your mind making mental notes. I must rewrite the spell. Hesitantly, you ask if the monster could have hurt you. What's that? Speak up, child. You repeat the question, and she pokes you in the chest. I told you once she's as real as you or me, but you only saw her in your dream. She was born in my lab to fight, becoming dark, not a mite like you. You glance down at your leg, and she cackles. Those rat bites were real enough, though. They're a sewer, not a palace. She continues her descent, and you follow in silence. It's only when you reach the bottom that you realise you've left your lantern, compass, and chalk in the chamber. Delete them. Oh no, so we've lost the lantern, chalk, and the compass. I see we lost the silver bracelet, didn't we, at one point? 134. The staircase leads down to a wide chamber. Here the alchemist turns. So they're making their move, are they? If you said you would come. She looks you up and down with a critical eye. Younger than I was hoping and shorter. Who sent you? She scowls and spits on the floor when you tell her. That jumped up scarecrow's still alive, is he? She mutters, shuffling about the room. You're in a laboratory filled with potions of many colours. Above your head, bats hang from the rafters in Raven's Perch. Ah, there it is. The alchemist uses her cane to dislodge a heavy book from a shelf. It hits the floor and sends up a thick cloud of dust. Put it on the table, she orders. Grabbing a magnifying glass, she leafs through the book's yellow pages. When she looks up, she forgets to put the glass down, and her left eye appears twice the size of her right. 585th Guardian of the Flame, bud of those ancient roots, and steward of Arkadale, welcome to your servants' wretched quarters. She bows ceremoniously and shows you the long list of names, of yours at the bottom, your mother's above. After a moment's silence, she snaps back to her old self. Now stop staring and start listening, she says, rapping you on the head with her cane. The trouble is you took your word for granted. You didn't imagine there could be any other way. There are many. The Guardians are the only reason you haven't seen them. It's their flame that keeps the darkness at bay. A good harvest, clean water, protection from plague, pestilence, black magic. All this can disappear from Harkendale as easily as a candle is snuffed out by the wind. And what then? You open your mouth, but she bangs her cane on the ground. Then he will come. If you want to ask who he is, turn to 181. Let's ask who. 181, or we could ask what the Guardian does. Let's go to 181. Ask who he is. I don't know, Roman. It's a prophecy, but he killed your mother, so he'll make short work of you if he ever catches you, and it's the wrong question. She raps you on the head again, right in the spot that was already tender. Don't you want to know what the Guardian does? What's so What he's so scared of? I'll tell you. 2, 3, 4. Only the Guardian can open the door to the chamber of the flame. The fuel that feeds the flame lasts for 100 years. If it's not replaced, the flame goes out and the kingdom lies unprotected. That's when he'll make his move. The prophecy says that an army of darkness will descend on Arkandale. Our defence will fall, and the greatest warriors falter. Chaos reigns, crops wither in the field, and out of this he will come, offering peace and prosperity. She looks up with a strange smile. And all that he will ask in return is your free will. He will make you into slaves, and you will let him. She pauses. All this will happen if the flame goes out. That is why they came for you, Rowan. 100 years are nearly up. The flame's power is falling, and the Guardian's time is upon us. She stops. Suddenly, her stern face softens. You could almost see tenderness there. But I thought you were dead. All my experiments, my attempts to create a creature that could fight the coming dark, they were born of despair. Yet here you are, in the one place you needed to be, and he has driven you here. His fear of you has given us the chance. We must take it. Come with me. She hobbles over to a bookcase and pushes 2 books into the wall. There's a loud click, and the case swings forward to reveal a narrow doorway. She mutters a few words, and the tip of her cane glows as you follow her down a dark stairway. 399. You hear running water below. Enter a small chamber, almost a cave. On the back wall, a network of rusting pipes feed a dark stream. The alchemist lights a lamp and points to the wall. You see at the top there, where those pipes enter the chamber, each of those pipes carries water from one of Arkandale's 8 rivers: the Wendell, the Arlas, the Murush, Eisenwell, the Endelin, the Miffensar, the Teffy, and the Tyr. Now see how they run through a network of pipes until the water drains into the stream at the bottom. Look, some of those pipes are connected so that the water from the rivers mingle. Listen carefully. To make the fuel for the flame, I need water from 4 rivers: the Arlas, the Murush, the Endelin, and the Tyr. But she strikes her cane into the ground for emphasis. The water you collect cannot be mixed with water from the Miffensar, Eisenwell, the Teffy, or the Wendell. She hands you a flask. My eyes aren't what they used to be. Follow the pipes. You will need to hold this flask under more than one of those outlets to catch the 4 waters you need. Let's see if the Guardian's brain is bigger than their boot size. Turn the page to see the pipes. All 9 of the outlets are numbered. When you have chosen your outlets, join their numbers together. Lowest first. Turn to that entry. Oh wow. So this is the puzzle. The next puzzle we've got to solve. There's the lady. And there are all the pipes. As you can see, these are all the pipes. So, rather than just film me staring at this bit, I'll pause this and I'll see if I can solve this one. Okay, so I think I've got it. Turn the page to see the pipes, all 9 numbered. You can't have 2 pipes that are mixed. So there's 4 rivers that are okay, 4 that are not, or 5 that are not, and they can't mix. So you've got to find 2 clear rivers from the list that are okay, which I've found. All 9 of the outlets are numbered. When you have chosen your outlet, join the numbers together, lowest first in terms of that entry. So 5, then 9. So if we're right, we go to 59. If we're wrong, we go to 322 after we check. 59. Let's see if we're right. You hand her the flask nervously. She snatches it away, dips in a finger, and brings the drop to her mouth. Under the light of the lamp, her eyes are almost lost in shadow. She turns abruptly and hobbles from the chamber. Despite her age, you have to hurry to keep up. Did I get it wrong? You ask, emerging from the laboratory. No, she says without turning around. Gain 1 ability point. Another one. So what should we put this into? Sixth sense is still only 4. Athletics, right stuff. I'm going to push sixth sense up to 5, just in case we need it. We've not used that yet for anything, I don't think. Maybe we used it once. Turn to 635. No, 365. 365. The alchemist leafs rapidly through the book she shows you before it looks up. Give me your hand. Before you can reply, you feel a sharp pain in your finger. She squeezes a drop of blood into the flask. Sit there, she says, pointing to a spot by the wall where there's no chair. The charcoal burners are stoked, and potions are carefully taken down from the shelves. As she sets to work, flashes of light throw long shadows on the wall. Her hands move so quickly you can hardly follow what they're doing. Your thoughts wander back over all you've been told. Suddenly you feel a familiar rap on the head. Get up, she cries. Flame burns low. Or have you forgotten already? If you have a red chain in your logbook, turn to 268. You don't have a red chain, no. If not, go to 119. So at some point we could have got a red chain somewhere, I guess. But we didn't. 119. So it's done, she says. Look at me. She pinches your chin between her long fingers and stares into your eyes. The fate of Arkandale is held here. She hands you a small leather drinking flask. Carefully, you ease out the stopper. The liquid looks dark in the dim light. But then you notice something else. The low murmur of many voices, and above them, a lone, clear voice singing in a language you don't understand. You push the stopper back in, and the song stops. Add the fuel to your logbook. So we've now got fuel. Good. I've done it. I've done what I can. But now I'm at a loss, Rowan. Where is the flame? Where is it? The fuel was worthless without the location. And that's the secret passed down from guardian to guardian. You were so young. She looks at you with desperate kind of hope. Your eyes widen, and you scrabble around in your bag for the book of fairy tales. You turn to the picture and tell her what my doctor said about a flame beneath an oak, in a place that no longer exists. The alchemist stares thoughtfully at the page. In a place that no longer exists? I wonder. She snaps the book shut, hands it back, and she puts her fingers to her lips and whistles loudly. 263. A faint, deep growl makes the candle on the table quiver. The alchemist ushers you out of the laboratory and up to the sewers. Another growl sends the rats squealing for their holes. There at the crossroads lies a dark shape with huge golden eyes. Good boy. Wow, easy now. The creature whines softly and rests its head on its paws. It's the biggest wolf you've ever seen, and folded over its black flanks are a pair of grey wings. Part wolf, part owl, the alchemist cries triumphantly. She pats it on the muzzle. Come on, boy, up we go. The creature places its nose under her foot and lifts her gently onto its back. She looks down impatiently. Time is not our friend, Rowan. You scramble up behind her, and the wow leaps forward. The walls of the sewer pass by in a blur, and daylight appears up ahead. With a last bound, she bursts through the opening and soars up over the rooftops of Helmsgard. The alchemist turns. It'll be nightfall before we reach the coast. You should rest. Drink this. She hands you a small vial filled with a few drops of something bitter. Fields and hill shields flash by beneath you, but despite the speed of the cold wind, your eyelids droop. You rest your head in the wolf's soft fur just for a moment. Roll the 1 dice and add the number to your life points. Remember, you can have a maximum of 12. Right, so ideally you need a 3 or above. Ah, yes, got 3. So that returns us back to full health. 12. Cool. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. The fall wakes you slipping from the wolf's back as he lands. Get up, the alchemist cries, poking you with her staff. You see a crescent moon shining through tall trees, and she leads you along a narrow path to the edge of the forest. Below, the black sea stretches to meet a sky that's bright with stars. She points towards a small town huddled on the shore. That is Port Darktide, on the western shores of Arkandale. From there you can charter a ship to the Lonely Isle. It's said that in ancient times there was a great stretch of land with a gleaming city surrounded by wheat fields and orchards. One day the earth awoke and the land sank beneath the waves. All was lost, save for one small island, jutting like a gravestone from the sea. Maybe that is the place that no longer exists, she sighs. In any case, it's our best hope. You ask if she can take you there, but she shakes her head. Wow would draw too much attention, and Rowan, I am an old woman whose powers lie in her books. I would be no use to you. She raps you on the head, but gently this time. Go. You might be stronger, you know. You might be stronger than you know. If you'd like to head straight down the slope towards the town, turn to 177. If you prefer to keep to the trees and follow the forest as it curves down the slope, 258. Or decide to scramble down the steep slope to the right and follow a river heading towards the town. Keep to the trees, 258. Let's go 258, the trees. Trees creak and groan as you make your way along the dark path. You hear a faint cry in the moonlight. You make out a figure lying in the centre of a large hollow to your left. Help me! The figure cries weakly. It sounds like a boy's voice, maybe someone the same age as you. You can't make out his face, but he waves at you slowly. You call and ask if he's hurt. Help me, he says again. Help him, 168. This could be a trap. There are no trees in the hollow, but it's covered in some kind of thick grass. As you climb down, it feels wet and slightly sticky. The cries for help become more urgent. You hurry across, checking for danger, but see nothing other than black tree chops swaying above the rim of the hollow. There's no breeze down here, in fact it's quite warm. The boy's face is difficult to make out. Even now you're standing over him, but his hand is outstretched and you reach down. Why is it so clammy and soft? Boneless. Roll 1 dice to get to your 6th sense level. Total of 9 or higher, or 8 or lower. So we've got a 5, we've got a 3, so that's 8. So we've got 8 or lower, 262, so it's probably a negative thing. 262. 262. A ripple rolls through the entire hollow. You look around in confusion as the ground falls away and a pit appears beneath your feet. The stench of rotten flesh and death rises. Too late you realise the figure was a lure. You've stumbled into the mouth of some monstrous burrowing creature that feeds on foolish travellers. With a despairing cry you plunge into the gullet. Oh no. This will lose. You land with a splash, a pour of warm, frothing liquid. Almost at once you feel your skin burning. The creature's stomach juices are starting their work. You cry out in the darkness, but there's no one to hear. In desperation you reach for flint and stab downwards. It's like a small fishbone in a creature this large, but it's your only hope. So we've got to deduct a life point. Down to 11. So we've got to roll 2 dice. Wait. Roll 1 dice. If you roll 1 to 5, deduct a life point and roll again. I think this potentially is how you get killed now. You've got 11 goes to roll a 6. 1, and a 3, 4, 1, 6. So we lost 3 hit points. Down to 8. Turn to 201. Maybe we've got a pure chance. Flint pricks a nerve. At once you feel a shudder, and another. Then the whole pit convulses and a great force erupts beneath your feet. You find yourself shooting towards the clear night sky as the contents of the creature's stomach are sent spewing upwards. The partially decomposed head of a bear rises beside you at the crest of the torrent. You're ejected from the creature's mouth with such force that you land back near the path covered in slime and shaking from your narrow escape. On the ground next to you, also thick with slime, you see a silver ring carved into a shape of a shield. You shudder and wonder how long it had lain in the foul creature's stomach. After washing both yourself and the ring in a nearby stream, you continue on your way. Add a silver ring to your logbook. Silver ring. You also went down to 11 8 hit points from 12, he lost 4. And turn to 157. That's annoying. You continue your journey towards Port Darktide. It must still be at the early hours of the morning, and the sentries at the eye at the gate eye you suspiciously. Helmsguard, one of them says with a thick western accent. That's a week's hard riding. How have you come all this way? You tell them you're visiting a friend, and have meant to arrive before dark. A friend, you say? Who's that then? Caspar. It's a boy you know who moved to Darktide a few years ago. You know anyone by that name, Gus? The other guy rubs his chin. Fishing family, he asks. You nod. I knew his father, he says with a slight grimace. The first guard is quiet for a moment, and he says more softly, all right, kid, you can pass. Just keep to the main streets if you know what's good for you. They step aside and you walk through the gateway into Port Darktide. If you'd like to head straight to the docks, 7-8. Rest first, 279. 279, let's see if we can rest. Get some hit points back maybe. If it works that way, I don't know. 279. On a cramped street lined with sagging timber buildings, you find a hostel that's open at this late hour. The man at the bar brings you a bowl of spicy fish stew, and when you've finished, he shows you into a long, windowless room lit by a single oil lamp. Hammocks are slung from low ceilings, and the walls are damp with snores of a dozen sleepers. You secure your satchel to your leg before stowing at the end of your hammock. Then close your aching eyes. Add 5 life points. Woohoo! So, we're going to need 4. Back to 12. Good choice. Go to 335. 335. You're awoken from a deep sleep by a sharp tug on your leg. The tip of flint is already pressed against the ribs of a thin, shadowy figure bent over your satchel. The spread of your reaction surprises him, even for you. Careful there, young warrior, with a quick arm. Can't an old man be allowed to stumble in the dark? But all that sharp and cold, low form means you no harm. He draws himself up and hits his bald head against the oil lamp. Oh, ow! We meet again, he exclaimed, shaking his fist at the swinging lamp. I am built for finer rooms with higher ceilings, he sighs. Glubbony one in his hands over a tatty fur collar. Times are hard for us all, or else why would one so young be travelling alone? Come, let me buy you breakfast before you go on your way. You still will glance around the room, see that you are attracting unwelcome attention from some of the other hammocks. You look from them to the spindly old man. You look from them to the spindly old man with the shiny head and ratty moustache. 106. Let's go for it. 106. Breakfast. The old man. You might be able to tell us stuff. The old man leads you back through the bar and into a side room with a long table and fire burning in the grate. Now then, he says, rubbing his hands as bread and cheese and steam of jug of something spicy are brought through. Now we tuck in, and after that, you'll do me the honour of watching a little theatrical show I'm currently touring. After you're finished, he wipes his mouth and stands up. His parted lips reveal 2 long yellow front teeth. Suddenly his fur collar starts to twitch. Before your eyes, it separates into a line of rats that scatter along the outstretched arms. Steady now, my beauties. 1, 2, 3. The rats stand on their hind legs, join paws, and dance a jig while the old man hums a creaky dirge. Bilge rats, he cries exultantly as they take a bow. The best in the business. Well done, my beauties. Well done. Cheese to put a gloss on your fur. He piles the remaining cheese onto his plate and they flow down his arm. So, child, I trust you've seen nothing to match that in your whole short life. I shake your head. Just so. Now, I know you haven't much money. Here his voice takes on a wheedling, sinister quality, but I take any of the trifles you're carrying as payments. If you'd like to pay the old man for his show, choose any item other than the fuel or flint and cross it from your logbook. Give him the hooded cloak again. What should we give him? give him the hooded cloak as payment. Turn to 240. We're trying to be safe in this town, we just arrived here. The old man bows and accepts your item. You see this, my beauty, this is cheese for you, and a bottle for me. You leave the inn, make your way to the docks. 78. You don't want any bells yet. Seagulls wheel and cry, and the cold mist rolls in and off the sea and up the streets of Port Darktide. The way down to the docks is quiet and still. You think of old Joe and how much he'd like to be here with you, telling you tales from his early years as a ship's carpenter on the Shooting Star. I had to splice our mast with an oar once, he'd say. That was a long journey back to port. He likes to talk about his time at sea, but although his voice sounds the same when he tells his stories, his eyes look sad. He keeps a necklace with an anchor pendant beneath his pillow, and you've never found out why. You're jolted from your fault by loud cries and pounding feet. Someone emerges from the mist, runs past and disappears. Her eyes were wild with fear. You peer down the street, but mist is too thick to see far. Mr. See far. What was running from? But what was she running from? You edge further down and come to a point where the street splits in two. The main road carries on round to the left and is lit by weak sunlight. You can just make out the looming masts of great ships in the docks below. On the right, a dark, narrow lane splits off into the mist. From there, a boy calls out with a fierce whisper, "Don't go that way. Didn't you hear?" If your sixth sense is 5 or higher, turn to 401. It's 5. Otherwise, different number, but then it's higher. 401. 401. You wish the boy would step out of the shadows, but there's something in his voice that you trust, even though you remember the advice to stick to the main roads. Fire that advice, 180. Don't advice, enter the dark lane. 97, dark lane. Because our 6% was good. I'm going to trust that. That's not a mistake. Almost against your own will, you enter the dark lane. "Hello," you call out. "Who's there?" A tall boy with brown hair emerges from the alcove. "Hello, Ron." You take a step back. "How did you?" Your eyes widen in recognition. "Casper?" He nods, and you're about to say more when he holds up his hand. "Wait. First we get off the street, then we talk." Leading you along the damp lane, he takes you down the rock docks onto a large fishing trawler. 305. Safely below deck, Casper relaxes and smiles, and for the first time, he looks his age, only a couple of years older than you. "What are you doing here?" he asks. And so you tell him everything that's happened since you were first woken in the night by hooded strangers. He listens with growing astonishment. When you're finished, he blows out his cheeks and laughs. "And there was me thinking you'd just come to see your old mate Casper." You grin and ask him how things are going in Port Darktide. "Me or the town?" Well, the answer's the same. He tells you about his life since leaving Helmsgard 3 years ago. His father was a fisherman, and they moved here so they could join the fishing fleet. "My mum's not been the same since he disappeared," he says. "It took him over a year back. He was one of the first. Now more people are disappearing every day. A couple were just ambushed. That's why I called out." He shrugs his shoulders when you ask what happened to the people they take. For a moment, he lost in thought. Then he looks up. "I know where they're from, though, the kidnappers. It's a land north of here. I know the accent, but there's something strange about them. Their blank faces, their shadows. No one believes me, but they're not right." A man walks down the street and his shadow lags behind, then catches up. He scratches his chin in the shadow. He scratches his chin and the shadow scratches its nose. It's like they've got a mind of their own. There's excitement in his voice, but in a dim light his eyes are sunken and subdued. He looks tired. "Where's the bundle of energy who used to get you both into so much trouble back in Helmsgard?" Your eyes briefly meet and you feel the distance has opened up between you. He smiles sadly, then slaps his knees and stands up. The lonely isles, he asks. Well, for once, luck is with us. We'll pass it on the way to the fishing grounds. This hopeless fame of yours can help us here in Darkside. You mean? I do. Come and meet the captain of the ship. She's the one that can give you passage. 64. Casper takes you to the deck to see a mountainous woman with fiery red hair and sea serpent tattoo coiled around her neck. She's wearing a jumper that looks like it was woven from hedgehog spines. Her name is Captain Hamshanks. She leans down and squints in your face. Her breath smells of rum and tobacco. I can take you to the Lonely Isle, she says, but what do you want with that godforsaken rock? Teller, 339, keep information to yourself. And we'll tell her. You will tell her the truth. She's helping us. You're about to launch into the story when Casper interrupts. These reasons are his. He yells in the ribs. My friend is asking for safe passage, and I said there's no ship safer. Her green eyes narrow, then she breaks into a gold-toothed grin. He's right, you know, he says, clapping Casper on the shoulder. Oh, 161, and deduct an ability point. 161. So I was to open them, so we're going to deduct skill to 5 as a 9. Alright, dearie, we'll take you. It will cost you 1 item from your satchel. We'll negotiate the price for the passage back once you're there. She turns and winks at her crew, who are ready in the ship to set sail. They roar with laughter. You don't like it, but you think of a flame guttering and swallow your pride. Every howl is precious. Choose any item except for the fuel or flint and delete it from your logbook. 5 crackers. I was only them as well. Got a feeling that might be useful. She inspects it closely, then leans down and produces a dirty piece of paper from inside her boot. Pick up these supplies from the warehouse at the end of the dock, and I'll introduce you to the crew. 116. I didn't realise how in depth this book is. 116. Ah, the crew. Nice. Big picture again. Graphics. It's nice to get these little puzzles and pictures. You return, bent, backed, and sweating, carrying a crate filled with dark brown bottles. You set it down with a loud clink on the stone key. Captain Hamshank burst out laughing. Make yourselves known, you dogs, she was, and the crew all shout their names. Take a good look at them. Make a note of anything particularly unusual you spot, then turn to 266. He already knows me. She's shivering. Shawl, Odin breeches, cork-eared Carl, Heston Gurgle, Stumpy, Betty Bottle, Harry Jonas. Oh, I think I've noted something. 266. One of the pirates, Shadow, is moving differently to how he's standing. 266, maybe that's what it is. Let's have a look. Winds set fair and the crew unfoul the sails and sail. Another option is the winds set fair and the crew unfurl the sails and sail out with the tide. Once you're clear of the port, Captain Hampton orders the crew to grab their fishing rods. Fatty's fish for the captain's table, and you see pups can fight over the rest, she roars. Casper teaches you how to cast a line, and soon you're sending your bait arching over the waves with an expert arm. Roll 1 dice to see what you catch. 4. 4 to 6. 1, 6, 4. What do we catch? It's a gunga, shouts Heston Gurgle as you haul the ugliest fish you've ever seen on board. I caught one too, cries Cool Kid Carl. And me, says Harry Jones. So what do we do? Captain Hamshake roars from the helm. And Heston roars back. We had us a gunge fight. As the deck is cleared, Casper explains what's going on. Whenever we catch gungers, we have a gunge fight. If you press the yellow spot on their belly, they spit out a glob. Only one glob, mind, of something strange. It turns you into a big baby. That's the only way I can describe it. Just for a few minutes, but it's funny to watch. Now listen, there's 3 of you in this fight. He leans over and whispers in your ear, and Cole's the best shot. He claps you on the shoulder and joins the rest of the crew at the helm. You, Jonas and Cole are left facing each other on deck, a few paces apart, with your gungers by your feet. You weigh up your options. You can't hit both men because you have only one shot, so the question is, how do you best avoid getting gunged? The captain puts her horn to her lips. As she blows, you bring your gunga up with one smooth movement. Jonas and Carl are still grabbing theirs, so you get to shoot first. Carl's the best shot. Carl 245. I'm gonna go for Carl 245. He's the best shot. The shot hits Cork-eared Carl on the forehead with a satisfying splat. His mouth falls open in shock as the gun dripples down his nose, and his face goes red. His eyes screw shut and he tips back his head and wails like a child. It's not fair, he bawls in a high, whining voice. You open your mouth to laugh, but find it suddenly filled with something gooey and bitter. Jonas shouts in triumph. Carl is right, it's so unfair. Why is Jonas such a big meanie? Now all the crew are laughing at you two, even Casper, who you thought was your bestest friend in the whole world. You sit down on deck with your legs crossed and suck your thumb between loud wails. Deduct 1 ability point, and then go to 52. Oh no. Skill down to 4. 52. Shivering Sean boils up fish stew laced with rum and spice. This will keep us warm, he says, handing you a bowl filled to the brim. It does. Casper tips back his head and laughs. When he sees your eyes streaming, add 4 life points. You've got maximum. After dinner, he takes you to the bow of the ship and points to a grey shape on the horizon. There's the lonely isle, he says. We should pass it before sunset. He leans on the gunwale. Listen, I've spoken with the captain and I'm going with you. You look over quickly. What about your pay? I've got a big put by. You mean serious about this? And I have seen enough myself. What's the point of money if there's nothing to go home to? That's all. You follow his gaze and look out towards the jagged shard of rock. Okay, you say. Thanks. He smiles and claps you on the shoulder. Good. That's decided then. I thought you might play the lonely hero on me. He strikes a heroic pose, but your laughter is interrupted by a cry from the stern. 227. That's a good turnover. Storm approaches off the starboard quarter. Betty Bottle shouts. You turn to see a dark cloud blocking out the sun. They stretch from the sea to the sky like a colossal wave. Where's that come from? Casper mutters. Lightning pulses in the clouds and a thick mist engulfs the ship. Lower the sails, the captain roars. As the crew rush to the ropes, you see lights floating through the mist. Torches, a giant galley take shape. On either side are rowers stripped to the waist, and in between dark forms roam the deck. But where are the people cast in these shadows? You can't see them. And suddenly the ship alters its course. Brace! Shouts the captain. The galley rams into the trawlers with a sickening crunch. Then they stream abroad, those dark shapes that stretch and glide like things from a nightmare. Stumpy is the first to fall, harpooning thin air and going quiet and stiff as the shadow creeps up his body. He falls awkwardly to the floor, his wooden legs clattering against the deck. What are these things? Yells Betty Bottle. How do you fight them? Roars Captain Hamshanks. You can't, shouts Casper. Just don't let them touch you. Add together your 6th sense and skill levels. 6 sense, skill 9. 424. I've got the lower score, so obviously we're going to get a negative. Which is not good. It's a 424, is that say? It's lower. Yeah, 424. Roll one dice. If you roll a 4 or higher, or 1, 3 or lower, 1, 4, 1. That's not good, is it? I've rolled quite a few ones recently as well. You dodge behind barrels and boxes, but the shadow just slides over them and keeps on coming. Its every touch drains the life from your body, and eventually it backs you up against the sterns of the ship. Slowly its arms fill up your sides. It feels like creeping through your veins. All around you see your crewmates fighting a desperate retreat. Cool Kid Carl throws himself furiously into the rafts, flailing left and right, for no longer than you thought possible. His heart must be frozen inside his chest, but still he swings, till finally he falls, hitting the deck like toppling of a great statue. You sink to your knees. If you have picked up a silver ring, I did, turn to 363. We got that silver ring, didn't we? 363. 363, yeah. Your hands enter the shadow, and you feel a sudden burning under the silver ring you forgot you were wearing. The shadow hisses, and some kind of smoke fills your nostrils. Then it's gone, leaving a fierce cry that hangs in the air. The ring glows with a white light. Well, realising it, you've picked up a ring that protects its wearer from dark magic, but you see its power is limited. The attacker's left the ring tarnished and noticeably thinner than before. It will only be able to save you for one more shadow wraith. You also find that because you're suffering no injuries, your strength quickly returns, but your relief is short-lived. Another shadow is gliding towards you. 291. No matter how quickly you feint and dodge, the shadow just keeps on coming. Your only thought is to buy some time. A loose rope hangs from the mast. With a great leap, you swing from one end of the ship to the other. You land and roll on your right side. Odin Britches beckons to you from behind a crate and points inside. On your left, you see that the hatch is open and holds. Odin Britches is the one I think is negative. 125. I want to stay away from him. Gain 1 ability point. Cool. Well, let's try and get that skill back up. We lost so many times. 5. You drop down and pull a hatch shut. A single oil lamp lights the gloomy hold, and you stoop to avoid hitting your head on a beam. As you straighten up, you hear a sharp whisper. Over here, Rowan. In the dark corner, old Heston Gurgle is crouched behind a pile of nets, about to rush over when the hatch is thrown open. Odin Bridges sticks his head down. He sees you and smiles. There you are. His head disappears, and his baggy red breeches appear through the hatch. He drops down, and his shadow follows, spreading out behind him like a dark cloud. So you don't trust me, Rowan? Was it my shadow? He never gets me quite right, even when he's trying. But I've been here so long, they don't notice. They don't even look. His words sound triumphant, but his voice is level and his eyes are blank. But then you come on board and I see your suspicious glance, so I send out the signal. Best this ship doesn't return to port, I think to myself. His voice rises for the first time and his shadow capers and dances horribly. You should leave. You should have said something when you had the chance, Rowan. Then he stops abruptly. Maybe he still will. A wheezy voice hisses in his ear. Heston has crept up and pressed his cutlass against his side. The Odin's shadow shifts and he cries out in pain as he reaches for his heart. You draw flint and charge. So we've got a battle now against Odin. I'm going to turn this over. We've got full health again. So I'm going to just put Odin. He does 2 damage. 2 damage. 5 rounds. What's his health? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And round for 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. And I take 1 less damage. So he damages 2, and I take 1 because of the leather armour. So for the first round, I want above a 7 to get the first hit in. And we roll an 8, a 5 and a 3. So I cross off the first round and I remove 1 hit point from the inn. So we've got 4 rounds left. We need to hit him 3 more times at this for above a 7 again. And 11. So if I've gone for 11 for that roll and got it, we lost 3 hit points for the round off, and another hit point gone. 3 rounds left. So if I say I want above a 9 and we get it, it's 2 hit points. But we only need to hit him 2 more times out of 3, so above a 7 again. Or 4. So he hits me with 2 damage, but got level armour. So we only take 1 damage. And again, the same thing. So we need to get above a 9. We've got a 5. Oh no, we lost. Rounds are up. Bacon Richards has beat us in the battle. So we're down to 9 hit points. He didn't kill us, but it could be the end now. 3, 2, 4. That's not good. Curse you, Rowan Omengar. I want to take you alive. For you. Curse you, Rowan Odingarth, I want to take you alive. As you hit the deck, you find your gaze level with the frozen eyes of Heston Gurgle. The noises above fade, and a vision hovers before you. It's a small flame, flickering, guttering, and dying in a dark and empty chamber. And there's no more things to do. So, we didn't complete it on the 3rd attempt. We got quite far. We were killed by the pirate. If we had rolled better and won that, we'd still be going. But that was a very long playthrough. 3rd attempt. It's a really good book, isn't it? If you'd like me to now review this in the future, after you've seen 3 playthroughs, let me know. If you want me to have another attempt at this, attempt 4 and record it, I can do. If not, I'll just do it personally now. I can tell you about that when I do the review maybe. And again, if you want to be involved with this, and you want to play it, and I'll read it, we'll do it on a live stream or whatever, put it in the comments. I'll get you involved. So yeah, sadly, Rowan, even with his armour, and all his items, killed. Never mind. Enjoyed that. That 3rd playthrough was a lot longer, and to do the full book from beginning to end, I reckon it's a good couple of hours, maybe more. So you definitely get your money's worth out of this book. And yeah, I'm going to have to play it again because I've got to try to complete it at some point. But it's not just making the right choices, it's also off of the dice in the battles that makes a big, big difference. Anyway, hope you enjoy these little nerdy game book videos. I enjoy them. I enjoy the process of playing them, but also appreciate the effort to write them as well. There's a lot of thought and effort involved in these, so if you liked, please like, subscribe. I know they're long, but how do you make a live game book video short? You can't, can you? It's live, you're playing it live, so yeah, it's what it is. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. Stay in touch. I'll speak soon.